Welcome to the channel where astonishing discoveries in the world of rare and valuable coins come to life. A place where history, minting anomalies, and collector passion collide into captivating stories of immense worth and fascination. And today's journey takes us deep into the enigmatic and jaw-dropping world of one particular coin, the 1989 D-half dollar that astonishingly sold for a record-breaking $176 million. A sum that leaves even seasoned numismatists in sheer disbelief, and yet behind this incredible value lies a complex web of minting errors, production mishaps, rare anomalies, and historical quirks that together have elevated this seemingly ordinary piece of metal into one of the most talked about coins in United States numismatic history. And so buckle in as we dive deep into what makes this 1989 D-half dollar coin not just rare, but an ultimate icon of minting marvels, because this is not merely a story of a coin but of perfection's near miss that turned into a collector's dream and an investor's jackpot, beginning with its origins at the Denver Mint in 1989, a year when the US Mint was producing millions of Kennedy half dollars mostly for collectors and circulation with regular expectations and standards. Yet within the massive output of that year, one single coin emerged with a combination of multiple distinct and extremely rare errors that not only defied all quality control measures but survived distribution, storage, and eventual discovery decades later, leading to a historic auction that stunned the coin collecting world. And what makes this particular 1989 D-half dollar so supremely valuable isn't just one error but rather the accumulation of a layered sequence of anomalies that start with the planchet itself, which was found to be a transitional error involving a silver-copper alloy never intended for use in 1989, a year when the US Mint had long since transitioned to a clad composition for half dollars since 1971, and yet somehow, this rogue planchet, speculated to be a leftover from an experimental run or possibly from an internal mint test, ended up being struck with 1989 dies at the Denver facility, already elevating it to extreme rarity given that no half dollar of that year was supposed to have a silver composition. And compounding this is the presence of a double strike, meaning the coin was struck twice in the press with noticeable shifting that led to a ghosted image of Kennedy's profile and doubled inscriptions on the obverse including the date and mint mark, with Liberty showing clear overlapping impressions that offer visual confirmation of this second strike, which numismatists recognize as a highly collectible error, especially when the doubling is so pronounced and on such a prominent part of the design. But the intrigue doesn't stop there, as microscopic analysis also revealed a dramatic off-center strike element, with the reverse side misaligned by almost 10%, shifting the iconic presidential seal and iron god we trust slightly out of its typical alignment, introducing a rare visual quirk that seasoned collectors go wild over. And just when you think it couldn't get more complex, this coin also displayed a highly unusual die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies made contact without a planchet in between, leaving mirrored design imprints on opposite faces of the coin, a phenomenon that is incredibly rare and produces unmistakable ghost-like patterns that add both mystery and aesthetic uniqueness. And further examination under infrared and UV light technologies used by top grading authorities uncovered microscopic die cracks running from Kennedy's jawline to the rim, consistent with a damaged die scenario. And what's more, the presence of partial collar strike meant that the coin was not fully seated in the collar die when it was struck, resulting in a slightly expanded rim and distorted edge reading. Yet the coin remained in surprisingly well-preserved condition, leading experts to grade it MS68, which is an extraordinary designation for a coin with so many errors, as often such anomalies come with signs of mishandling or wear. But in this case, the coin's luster remained brilliant, the fields were nearly pristine, and the devices retained sharp detail, creating an unusual duality of chaos and perfection that is almost never seen together. And now we delve into speculation about how such a coin could possibly come into existence, with one prevailing theory suggesting that during a shift change or maintenance period at the Denver Mint, an experimental or leftover silver-copper alloy planchet, possibly part of a test batch for commemorative issues, was accidentally mixed with standard blanks and fed into a press loaded with 1989 Kennedy dies, and due to machine or human error, the press may have been misaligned and suffered from worn dies, leading to the combination of die clash, double strike, and misalignment. And what's especially fascinating is that the coin avoided immediate detection, possibly because it was bagged and stored during a production run destined not for general circulation but for numismatic roll sales or special collector packaging, which might explain how it evaded melting or rejection and eventually surfaced in the private estate of a former mint employee, whose descendants unknowingly held onto the coin for decades, believing it to be just another shiny $half until a sharp-eyed numismatist at a garage sale spotted the anomalies and began a journey of authentication that would culminate in global headlines and a feverish auction war among elite collectors and institutional investors, with major museums and billionaire buyers bidding aggressively for a coin now being dubbed the Mona Lisa of modern US coinage. And the story doesn't end there, because this coin's discovery has ignited a wave of renewed interest in 1989 $half, with collectors pouring over their collections and rolls, hoping to find additional examples or similar cousins of this miraculous specimen. But to date, no other known 1989 $half has displayed this exact combination of errors, making it a confirmed unique piece. And what's more compelling is how the narrative of this coin represents the very heart of numismatics, a perfect storm of human error, mechanical failure, historical context, and sheer luck coming together to create an object of immense fascination and monetary value. And experts believe that the coin's value could continue to rise as it becomes enshrined in numismatic lore, especially as interest in high-grade error coins and transitional anomalies continues to soar in global markets, driven by both collectors and alternative investors seeking unique, tangible assets with historical pedigree. And so this $176 million 1989 $half now serves not only as a marvel of minting anomalies but as a symbol of how even the smallest deviation in the coin making process, when coupled with historical intrigue and pristine condition, can transform everyday pocket change into a global treasure, reminding us that behind every coin lies the possibility of discovery, of mystery, and of unimaginable value. And in a world where millions of coins are minted each year to exacting specifications, it is the rare mistake, the unintentional masterpiece, the quiet survivor of a chaotic moment on the production floor that captures imaginations and wallets alike. And in that regard, the 1989 $half is not just a coin but a testament to the enduring allure of imperfection, a tangible artifact of chance and oversight that now commands a price higher than most mansions, paintings, or luxury cars. And as collectors continue their quest for the next great era coin, the legend of this 1989 $half will loom large as both inspiration and aspiration. And perhaps, just perhaps, someone out there watching this right now has a similar anomaly sitting unnoticed in a drawer, a dusty box, or a forgotten coin roll, waiting to be discovered, authenticated, and appreciated for what it truly is, a $1 million miracle in metal that proves once again the extraordinary can often be hiding in the ordinary, and that the past continues to whisper its secrets through these tiny historical artifacts that we too often overlook. So stay tuned, keep searching, and who knows, you might just be the next one to uncover a piece of numismatic history worth millions. Next 1979 $half coin. Where coin collectors, enthusiasts, historians, and investors unite in pursuit of the most astonishing stories behind some of the rarest and most valuable coins ever struck by the United States Mint. And today we embark on an extraordinary journey into the world of the 1979 $half coin, a coin that stunned the numismatic community when it surfaced with a jaw-dropping value of $54 million, not because of gold, platinum, or jewels embedded in it, but because of a perfect storm of minting errors, striking anomalies, composition irregularities, and historical mysteries that have made it one of the most sought-after pieces in the history of American coinage. And as we delve into this one-of-a-kind $half, prepare to be captivated by the convergence of historical events, technical mistakes, and sheer numismatic wonder that turned what was supposed to be an ordinary Kennedy $half into a record-setting phenomenon. And to understand why this 1979 $half coin is worth $54 million, we must first travel back to the context of the late 1970s, a time when the United States Mint was under intense pressure to increase coin production, modernize equipment, and phase out certain minting errors that had plagued previous years. And it was in this ambitious push for technological refinement and efficiency that something truly remarkable occurred, because the Denver and Philadelphia mints were operating at full capacity, producing the Kennedy $50, a coin honoring the legacy of President John F. Kennedy and first introduced in 1964, and by 1979, these coins were primarily minted in a copper-nickel-clad composition, following the cessation of 40% silver content in 1970, but buried within the countless millions of $50 produced that year was one single coin that would defy all expectations, a coin that appeared at first glance to be standard but under closer examination revealed layers of minting abnormalities so rare, so perplexing, and so unprecedented that experts were forced to question whether it had originated from a forgotten internal mint experiment or a catastrophic lapse in production controls. And it all started with the planchette, the blank metal disc onto which the coin's design is struck, and in the case of this unique 1979 $50, analysis revealed that the planchette was not the usual copper-nickel-clad composition, but instead a leftover 40% silver-clad planchette intended for obsolete special mint sets, which by 1979 had long been discontinued, raising serious questions about how such a planchette ended up being struck with 1979 dies, and metallurgical testing confirmed a silver content that did not match any publicly known composition for that year, strongly suggesting this coin was the result of either a rogue planchette, a test strike using leftover materials, or a clandestine internal mint experiment never meant for circulation. But the mysteries didn't stop there, because this coin also features a rotated die error of nearly 160 degrees, meaning the reverse side of the coin is almost completely inverted in relation to the obverse, an error so dramatic and so visually distinct that it immediately draws the eye and is almost unheard of in $50 of that era. And adding to the intrigue is the presence of a double strike error where the coin was struck twice by the die with noticeable offset between the first and second impressions, producing visible ghosting around Kennedy's profile, and a faint duplication of the date and lettering on the obverse, while the reverse eagle design displays a second partial impression, creating a surreal three-dimensional layering effect that is both mesmerizing and historically significant. And to make matters even more baffling, the edge of the coin reveals a partial collar error where the coin was not properly seated in the collar die at the moment of striking, leading to an uneven rim and malformed edge reading, a highly sought-after error that is rarely seen in conjunction with so many other mistakes. And under ultraviolet and infrared imaging, experts detected internal die cracks along Kennedy's cheekbone and extending toward the rim, indicating that the die used to strike this coin was already fatigued or fractured, which in itself is not uncommon, but combined with the other anomalies points to a moment of utter chaos in the minting process. And upon further magnified inspection, the coin also features a dramatic die clash, a phenomenon where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchette in place, leaving ghost-like remnants of each design impressed on the opposite die. And in this case the eagle from the reverse is faintly visible behind Kennedy's neck, creating an eerie and unique phantom effect. And then there's the matter of the missing mint mark, as this particular 1979 $50 lacks any mint mark at all, suggesting it may have been struck at the Philadelphia Mint before mint marks were consistently applied, or perhaps the result of a clogged die or overlooked step in the production line, which only adds to the coin's mystique. And yet despite all these staggering anomalies, the coin was preserved in near-flawless condition, ultimately receiving an astounding mint state 68 grade from Professional Grading Services, a designation that places it among the top echelon of surviving examples from any year, let alone a coin with such a complicated error history, and speculation about how such a coin could have come to exist and then escape the rigorous inspection protocols of the US Mint has run rampant, with some theorists suggesting that the coin was struck intentionally during an after-hours or off-the-books minting session, possibly by an employee aware of the rarity of such errors and hoping to create a valuable collectible, while others believe it was simply the result of an extraordinary confluence of oversights during a chaotic production period when machines were being recalibrated and staff was being trained on new procedures. And the mystery only deepens when considering the coin's provenance, as it reportedly surfaced not in a dealer's vault or a numismatic convention but rather in a collection inherited by a family with no known ties to the minting industry, suggesting it may have entered circulation or been passed down unnoticed for decades until a sharp-eyed collector recognized its unique features, setting off a firestorm of interest and ultimately resulting in a fierce bidding war among elite collectors, museum curators, and wealthy investors, driving the price to an unprecedented $54 million. And what makes this coin's value even more extraordinary is that it embodies every aspect of what makes numismatics such a thrilling pursuit. The chance to uncover something that defies logic, that shouldn't exist, that challenges our understanding of history and minting protocol, and yet is real, tangible, and deeply valuable. And in the wake of its discovery, the numismatic world has seen a renewed surge of interest in 1979 half dollars, with collectors examining rolls, sets, and collections in the hopes of finding similar errors. Yet to date, no other specimen has been found with this exact combination of planchette anomaly, rotated die, double strike, die clash, partial collar, missing mint mark, and pristine preservation, making it not only unique but a one-of-one coin in the truest sense, and experts believe that its value could continue to rise, particularly as high-net-worth individuals and financial institutions increasingly view rare coins not just as collectibles but as alternative investment vehicles, offering historical significance, scarcity, and portability unmatched by most other asset classes. And as the legend of this $54 million coin spreads, it also serves as a beacon to amateur and professional collectors alike, a reminder that extraordinary finds can still emerge from ordinary places, that treasures may lie hidden in pocket change, inherited boxes, or forgotten drawers, and that with a keen eye and a deep understanding of what makes an error coin valuable, anyone has the chance to stumble upon a life-changing discovery. And as for this particular 1979 half dollar, it now sits enshrined in a high-security private collection, occasionally loaned for public viewing but mostly kept under controlled conditions to preserve its incredible state, and its story continues to inspire, educate, and ignite passion in those who dare to believe that the next great coin might still be out there, waiting to be found, waiting to tell its story, and waiting to change someone's life forever. Because in the world of rare coins, anything is possible, and every coin has a story, some more valuable than we could ever imagine. Last 1996 D half dollar coin. That takes you deep into the incredible world of rare coins, minting mysteries, and astonishing treasures hiding in plain sight, where each episode uncovers numismatic legends that defy all odds and command astronomical value in the collector's market. And today we bring you one of the most jaw-dropping discoveries in recent coin history, a story so bizarre, intriguing, and valuable that it has shaken the foundations of what we thought we knew about modern minting practices, because we are diving into the unbelievable tale of a 1996 D half dollar coin that sold for an eye-watering $781 million, not because it's made of precious metals or embedded with gemstones, but because of an extraordinary sequence of minting errors, composition anomalies, striking mistakes, and mysterious circumstances that have made it a one-of-a-kind marvel and an international sensation in the numismatic community. And to truly understand why this specific 1996 D Kennedy half dollar reached such an unimaginable value, we must first examine its historical context and standard characteristics, because 1996 was a relatively unremarkable year for US coinage on the surface, with the Denver Mint producing millions of half dollars using the standard copper-nickel clad composition, a process so refined by that point in time that significant minting errors were supposed to be almost impossible. But what makes this specific coin so mesmerizing and valuable is that it escaped quality control while bearing not one, not two, but a staggering sequence of anomalies that when taken together create a combination so rare it may never have occurred before or since in the history of the United States Mint. And it all begins with the composition of the planchette, which experts later discovered to be not the usual clad copper-nickel, but a highly unusual 90% silver alloy that had not been used in regular half-dollar production since 1964, raising immediate questions about how such a planchette could have entered the striking process at the Denver Mint in 1996, and metallurgical analysis confirmed that the planchette matched the composition of the 1964 silver Kennedy half dollars, suggesting either an experimental leftover or a rogue planchette that somehow survived for over 3 decades and found its way into the presses during a modern minting run. But the strangeness of this coin didn't stop at the planchette, because it also features a powerful double strike error, where the coin was struck twice with a noticeable offset between impressions, producing a ghosted duplication of President Kennedy's profile, as well as overlapping letters in the word Liberty and a doubling of the date 1996 that is clearly visible even without magnification. And when we turn the coin over, the reverse reveals an incredible die rotation error, with the design misaligned by nearly 170 degrees, resulting in the eagle and surrounding inscriptions appearing nearly upside down relative to the obverse, a rare mistake that is usually caught in quality control but in this case slipped through undetected. And even more astounding is the partial brokerage present on the obverse, where part of the design was obscured due to a previous coin that was not properly ejected from the die chamber, creating an unusual flattened area with a mirror-like reverse impression overlapping Kennedy's portrait. And if that weren't enough, there is a major off-center strike, with the design shifted noticeably toward the lower right, resulting in a crescent of unstruck metal visible along the coin's upper edge, creating an unbalanced but fascinating visual that adds yet another layer to this coin's uniqueness. And under close inspection using advanced scanning electron microscopy, researchers identified a dramatic die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchette between them, leaving faint but unmistakable elements of the eagle's wings visible in the field behind Kennedy's neck. While the obverse features, such as the designer's initials and edge elements, show evidence of severe die fatigue, including prominent die cracks and flow lines that indicate overuse or improper die maintenance, and the edge of the coin reveals even more surprises, with evidence of a partial collar strike, meaning the coin was not fully enclosed in the retaining collar when struck, resulting in an expanded, slightly distorted rim that shows uneven reading, a feature that is both rare and highly prized among error collectors. And as if all of this weren't enough, the coin lacks the usual D mint mark altogether, an anomaly typically associated with filled dies or mechanical obstruction. But in this case, the mint mark appears to have been completely omitted during production, fueling speculation that the die used was either unfinished or possibly intended for experimental use. And while a single error might make a coin interesting and collectible, this specific coin contains no fewer than 8 major errors simultaneously, a nearly unheard of occurrence, and all of them preserved in a coin that somehow remained in pristine condition for more than 2 decades before being discovered, eventually being submitted to a top-tier grading agency and receiving a jaw-dropping MS-69 designation, the highest ever assigned to a Kennedy half dollar with multiple visible errors. And the story of its discovery is equally remarkable, as the coin was reportedly found in a deceased relative's safety deposit box, stored among standard circulated coins and commemorative items, with no indication of its value until an inquisitive heir brought it to a local coin dealer, who instantly recognized the coin's highly unusual features and urged further professional analysis, setting off a whirlwind of media attention, expert scrutiny, and global interest, eventually leading to an international bidding war at auction, where representatives from major museums, royal treasuries, and private collectors competed fiercely to secure this unmatched numismatic treasure, eventually driving the price to an astonishing $781 million, the highest amount ever paid for a modern US coin. And this sale not only shattered all previous records but ignited a renewed wave of enthusiasm among collectors, prompting thousands to revisit their own collections, hoping to find a similar anomaly, though to date, no other 1996 D half dollar has surfaced with anywhere near this level of error complexity and preservation, cementing its status as a unique piece in the truest sense of the word. And the implications of this coin go beyond its physical form, challenging long-held assumptions about the integrity and infallibility of modern minting systems, prompting new investigations into archival mint records, production logs, and internal memos from the Denver facility in 1996, though no definitive explanation has yet emerged for how so many anomalies could occur simultaneously and go unnoticed. And Theories abound, from the plausible suggestion of a malfunction during a test run, to the more speculative idea that the coin was struck intentionally by a rogue employee with knowledge of numismatic markets, though no evidence has ever confirmed such claims, leaving the true origin of the coin wrapped in mystery and fueling its mythological status. And what makes the coin even more compelling is that it touches on every dimension of numismatic appeal: rarity, beauty, condition, mystery, and historical intrigue, all wrapped into a single specimen that continues to captivate experts and amateurs alike. And as interest in rare coins grows among traditional collectors, alternative investors, and even blockchain-based digital ownership platforms, the story of the 1996 half dollar has taken on new life, becoming a symbol of what is possible when imperfection, chance, and time converge to create something truly priceless. And now museums and financial institutions are even using high-resolution replicas of the coin in educational exhibits to teach about minting processes, error classification, and the unpredictable nature of numismatic discovery. And the tale of this coin has been featured in documentaries, academic papers, and popular media around the globe, drawing millions of views and reigniting public interest in coin collecting at a scale not seen in decades. And so whether you're a lifelong collector or someone just beginning to explore the incredible world of coins, let this story be a reminder that numismatic treasures are not just relics of the distant past but can emerge from relatively modern times, often from places and collections you least expect, and that within the vast sea of minted currency, there still lie undiscovered gems with the power to rewrite the record books and change lives forever. And perhaps, just perhaps, someone watching this video right now holds in their hands a coin with untold value and unimagined history, waiting only to be recognized, authenticated, and appreciated for what it truly is: a miracle of metal, a monument of mystery, and a multi-million-dollar masterpiece that tells a story no one could ever have predicted but that the world will never forget.